Hey everyone, today I'm joined by Nick Daragalskev from aVers Cloud Solutions. aVers Cloud Solutions is a 100% cloud-based bookkeeping practice that also specializes in cash flow management for small and medium businesses. Nick has over 10 years of experience in the field as a certified data engineer, combining his passion for accounting to deliver A-class cash flow visualization reports to clients. Nick, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
No, cool. Now, look, one thing that I wanted to start off touching on was cash flow. I know it's a very broad topic. It's something that I think a lot of small businesses overlook the importance of. And, there was actually an interesting piece written by our friends over at Float earlier this year that cited that 82% of small businesses that went bust actually listed cash flow as the main factor. Now, it shows that I think, cash flow is something that maybe isn't paid as close of attention to as it should be. But I mean, in you producing, your cash flow visualization reports, what would you classify as the most important pieces of data that small business owners really need to keep a grip of when trying to improve their cash flow?
It's almost like business Zen, because you have something in the past that affects the future, and you have a future that is very hazy because no matter how hard you try, things change. The only thing that you can control is now. And if you focus on now, that's where the data is. And people have been talking about it for a very long time. They called it real-time data, for example, or as real-time as we can get to it, because it's never really a real-time data. There is always a delay. So control of what really happening right here, right now, in terms of the finances, is the true management of cash. Yes, we can do projections and things like that, and that's okay. And I've been doing that for a number of years. But what I found is at the end of the day, it's all like creating a story, sort of speak. And really, the data that business owner needs, no matter the size, is as real-time possible data of what's happening now, or what happened just a few days ago, or a week ago. But it needs to change on an ongoing basis. Harvard Business Review, they named the discovery of progress principle as one of the most important discoveries in management of this century. And it shows the importance of instant feedback. Basically, the study is itself, and I will start a little bit far, but I will come back to the cash flow. It studied what motivates people in the workplace, basically. Is it extra bonuses? What makes them excited? Is it extra pay? Is it nice holiday that they're looking forward to? Is it work-life balance, and etc.? And they did a lot of studies around it. And what they found around 10 to 12 years ago is it's a progress principle, which is instant feedback when people get on the work that they're doing. And this is where cash flow management of the business is coming in. You trying to get that data as real time as possible, and interaction with that data becomes more than a game, more than life. It's something that you do. And this is where you guys come in and your product with business trackers. And that is very important because you pull out that data, and this data, and there are different pieces, and for different businesses, it would be different pieces that are required. There is no one magic number that needs to flow. And you and your product is very important part of that puzzle, because you put data from different sources. I started my career as an engineer, petroleum engineer, and then I went in more into a data acquisition, where we put equipment in the well for production of oil and gas right after they drilled it, and measured the data and started putting the equipment up and collecting all this data from different measurements. So this is where my passion for real-time data comes in, because that data then through satellites goes directly to the head office and people can see it straight away. They're sitting there and did they hit the oil or gas or whatever. So these processes of acquiring data in real time is very different to what normally is happening in accounting. In accounting, you look at the periods. You do the checks before you lodge some sort of compliance documentation, tax returns, BASs, and etc. Now, multiplied by 1,000, the complexity. If you want to provide a real-time or as close as possible to real-time data to your clients, taking into account, yes, the adjustments might be made in the future, but you need mechanisms that allow you to control that data and control the quality of that data. The technology is always a bless and a curse at the same time. When you introduce automated process, it's fantastic. It saves a lot of labor and it saves a lot of time and it gives you much more accurate data. However, the curse side of it is that mechanisms of checking it now are completely different. And imagine the situation, you guys deal with point of sale systems and e-commerce mainly. And that's a very interesting area to be in for real-time data, because you have something that used to be a cash register, which is manual, and there used to be the processes of the day-to-day till closure. So you're closing it and you're doing a lot of checks. You're checking this, you're checking that, you are making sure you're counting your cash, making sure that your FPOS is balancing to what your closing balance of that machine is. And now all this software comes in that makes point of sale easier, much easier. And now we have, I don't know what exact percentage, but a lot of business owners entered this business and they have no process for till closure. For them, because they've been sold by software companies, that it's magic, that it's, it's just push the button and it's all done for you. And there is, I think, the whole generation, at least, if not second generation now, of business owners who come in, they run their cafes or retail stores or whatever. They don't care about what the real ins and outs of closing the till are.
Correct.
They rely fully on the software. Just push a button and it's kind of done. And this is where the problems start. So when you deal with the real-time data, I found there are two main problems that new software brings in. It solves a lot of problems, but it leaves this gap. So imagine a retail store. You used to have this register there. So you had a person who installed it. So this IT. This IT guy comes in, makes sure that the printer is working, it's communicating to certain things. Then now it's in the cloud. You don't need that IT guy, pretty much. It's replaced with the business owner just ordering the stuff. It arrives, they plug it in, it's plug and pray. It works in majority of cases without them doing much. And so now you're throwing away that IT side out of things. Okay, that's good. However, you're bringing in the guy to integrate it with your accounting system. And it's not an accountant, because accountant is not a specialist in IT. They don't know what APIs are. They don't know what things are. So when at the end of the period, there are problems with certain balances in the bank account, in accounting accounts, because it's integrated, etc. People who are involved, and we have IT guy who did the integration, business owner, and the accountant there. And the question from the business owner is, okay, what's wrong? Who's at fault? And then people go, them. No one takes
finger pointing
responsibility for
exercise. Yeah.
actually. And it's natural because it's never been a responsibility of IT people. The accounting for accountants, like it's your integration. It's not my business. I don't know.
Yeah.
In majority of cases. Plus, we're talking about real-time data, and this is data multiplied by 1,000 because it's not just this, what is the balance at the end of the period? Yes, there are problems of that, but it's in time. It's every day or every hour or every minute the data is flowing through.
Correct.
So when someone comes in and changes within the integration a few buttons, it doesn't do the retrospective changes to that. It just doesn't go that these historically would be recoded or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's now a new process and it does it in a new way. And this is really accountant's nightmare because for accounting, the motto is always whatever you do that consistently.
Correct.
Because honestly, if I get have a look at the balance sheet, etc., and it's my or P&L, and there is something was done wrong, it's much easier to fix. It's if it's being done incorrectly but consistently, rather than if it was 7 different methods of doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Now we introduce the real-time data with the integrations and etc. That's the reality of life.
Correct. Correct. And that's definitely what's happened. There's almost too much data, but to avoid the finger pointing exercise, it's almost like you need tools that allow all different sides of the party to understand the outputs, which, is where tools like Google Data Studio and, other reporting apps like, Spotlight Reporting, just as an example, they present data in a way that is so understandable. But to your point as well, as an engineer by background, you're more interested in what's the data behind the nice graphs. Is it all correct? Is it all flowing? How is it being brought into the software? There's many different layers of things.
You need other methodologies. So with dashboards, you now have multiple levels, and with the BIs and how system being created, in 90s, noughties, and in tens less, we always had people in parts of the data acquisition that, as I gave you the example with the point of sale, they had process of checking that till closure process is followed.
Yeah.
Now, all these point of sale systems are coming in saying it's magic, it does it all for you. No, it doesn't. Within, like every system would have a till closure screen when you close the till, and it gives you all and asks you to balance it all out. But people don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like they're placing too much trust in the software.
Yes, and they should. And it's not that software is doing something wrong. It's following the process, but no one teaches them. There was no IT guy who came to them and taught them how to do a till closure procedure. Because till closure procedure will also be different from business to business. They might have different processes that are happening. More old-fashioned businesses obviously have their process, but I see so many now coming in and nothing that is happening there to adjust. Or people have the process for till closure. They're recorded, but there is no communication to anyone about it. So yes, there was a big problem, but no one knows about it.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yes. So now we have with the BIs, we need visualizations and systems to check the reliability of data.
Well, yeah,
and in a lot of cases that is missing.